lot going on. It's kind of funny. We went from a pretty, had the craziness, low float mania that always happens over the week of Thanksgiving. I'm sure many of you saw SMX. I talked about that one. Multiple entry signals. First one was like in the 5s and 7s on the RCT algo. Then it hit Flux at 10. That was on Wednesday. Then hit Oracle at like 37 and went into the 70s. So that always kind of happens through Thanksgiving week. But the other thing is, we really had kind of a lack of news flow and no real, what I would call emerging trends and or hot sectors. Well, that has changed today. So let me go back to my notes. First, Tesla up big, as well as some small cap robotics plays. So sector number one, I got basically multiple sectors for you, the robotics plays. So going back to early this morning, Tesla was up big. All the AI stocks were in play. Political reports that after its AI push, the Trump administration is now turning its attention to robotics. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has been meeting with robotics CEOs and is all in on accelerating the sector's development. And then Tesla, reacting to that. Now Tesla's obviously the behemoth in everything, but obviously in robotics. And you can see as of this morning, when I had the notes, Tesla's up 1%. Tesla's up 4% after this headline hit. So kind of shows you the power of when the admin and gets behind these, themes and sectors. I mean, it's government money, it's focus, it brings, people want to get the next intel. Okay, remember, last I saw, we, as in the U.S. citizens, are up literally billions of dollars on intel because of the investment by the Trump administration. So people are piling into these things because, the next stock could be that one that gets a government grant or even government investment. Now back to Tesla. I mean, 4%. I know a lot of you guys probably, day trade, low priced, low float stocks like, an SMX that goes up, hundreds of percent in a day. But 4% in Tesla, that ain't no joke. I mean, this is one of the biggest companies in the world, and really nothing has changed. I mean, Tesla didn't announce some new product or new offering or anything like that. This is strictly a 4% move on one of the biggest companies in the world that's been on a heck of a tear, for just because of the prospects of the future. Now, I want you building robotics lists. Look at Kit. Okay, Kit is one of those. Look at this all-day grind on Kit. We went over this one on the noon webinar in the Daily Income Trader system. It was trading in the mid 90 cents. So kind of right at the end of the webinar, and someone asked, they're like, hey, Tim, what do you think about Kit? It's a robotics play. It was gapping up pretty good. And I'm like, okay, it's, one of those stocks, big gapper, hot sector, all those things we look for. It was trading in the mid 90s, 90 cents, it was like 94, 95. So what we like to use with those stocks is that, that dollar cross play, because when these stocks bust a buck, they tend to spike. Now, full disclosure, with the dollar cross play, it's kind of more of what we call like a scalper strategy. We normally look for like that 10 to 15% gain after the dollar cross. Now you can see once it broke $1, a little after the webinar ended, rocketed right to the goal. So it was a great, 10, 15, 20% trade, but then pulled back to VWAP and ripped higher. I mean, it shows you the power of, again, hot sectors. And then iRobot. Now, all these are names to keep an eye on. I think a lot of these aren't done, okay? iRobot was one of the best Oracle winners today. This had a $2, actually, let me grab it and show you, $2.31 entry from the Oracle algorithm. That hit at about 9:37 a.m. roughly. And then, with these plays, we normally just use the opening lows as the stop loss. So never hit the stop, but you would have had about a 218, maybe 220 stop loss on this. So 231 entry, 10, 12, 14 cents of risk. And went to 350, bounced off of VWAP a couple times, still at 330. So just a great killer runner, and also setting up into tomorrow as well. So MBOT is another name I want you to keep an eye on. This one kind of a laggard right now. This used to be a low float play, but they've done some dilutions. But the point is, definitely have the robotics plays, on your watch list. Now, what's great about, stocks to trade, you can filter by sectors. You can look for these other plays that are trading high volume and making moves in those sectors. So build your watch list there. Now, the other big news event is Alex Karp, CEO of Palantir. Almost all of you guys know how much of a bull I have been on Palantir, literally going back to about $20 a share. Some of you are probably sick of me talking about Palantir, but he's on the New York Times DealBook. I don't know what you call it. I guess it's a conference, but I've been seeing a lot of these clips. And listen, I actually just bought his biography. I'm about to read that. I'll keep you posted on that. I've heard great things about his book, the biography, but great free thinker. Love the way this guy thinks. And, check that out, because he's dropping a lot of nuggets and also kind of like trading related stuff. I mean, it's really a good one to watch. So check out New York Times DealBook. And remember, with Palantir, I brought it up many times. I've talked about the Schwab TV appearances. I mean, this thing's just loaded with shorts. It's been, people just keep trying to guess the top on Palantir. Now Michael Burry's piled in. He's wadded up, probably about to get completely twisted on this stock. But that creates trading opportunities for us. Would not surprise me to come back here in January and see this thing at all-time highs. Now, the other biggest thing I want you to keep an eye on, well, short-term trading-wise, so I've got these three themes. Short-term, day trading-wise, robotics, okay? That's the sector based on the Trump admin's announcements. Big picture stuff, New York Times DealBook and Alex Karp. And then longer term trades and kind of a read on the AI sector. Jensen Huang is on Joe Rogan. I think it's still going right now. I haven't had time to watch it, been busy with trading, but I've caught a couple clips. I'm going to listen to it tonight. And the big thing that stuck out to me was he's talking big time about these small modular reactors, okay? SMR is some of the names. A lot of these tickers in Oklo is another name. Bunch of them. Other theme I definitely want you to be watching, because listen, I could be wrong. I have a lifelong technology background. I have 20 plus years of trading experience. And in my opinion, the biggest nut to crack for AI right now, it's energy. Okay, it's not the chips. NVIDIA's cranking them out. Now you got the Google TPUs, you got Broadcom. I mean, you've got the production. Microsoft, stated a few weeks ago, like they got stuff ready to turn on, like data centers and racks, thousands of CPUs that they just can't turn on because they can't get enough energy to them to turn them on. So the small nuclear reactors, all of you should be, understand what they are. Listen, speaking of AI, get educated. I like Grok. Go to Grok and ask it to teach about small nuclear modular reactors. But basically, they vary in size. A lot of them are like a container truck size. Some are bigger, but they can be transported, and basically the last mile, it's always funny. Back when I was building my ISP in the 90s, the last mile was always our big nut to crack. We could bring fiber into a town. It was expensive, wasn't crazy expensive, but then that last mile to the consumer of the business, whoo, that's where you get ate up. And it's kind of that last mile with the energy as well. It's one thing to have the production wherever at the Hoover Dam, but if your data center is in, Norway, okay, good luck turning on your data center. So these small nuclear reactors solve that, and Jensen Huang talking a ton about those on the Joe Rogan podcast. So in summary, watch the robotics theme, check out New York Times DealBook, both with Scott Bessent. Oh, I've got such a man crush on Scott Bessent. And Alex Karp. And then listen, if you're curious about like the real world of AI, what the future is, quit listening to Michael Burry and head over to the Joe Rogan podcast with Jensen Huang. So thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.